Important legislation for Hawaii Island and its fight against the spread of the invasive coffee berry borer, which has infested coffee crops in the Kona and South Kona regions. House Bill 1514 would set $3 million aside for the Department of Agriculture to fund efforts to control and mitigate damage from the coffee berry borer, or CBB. The bill had a hearing before the House Committee on Agriculture on Friday and had the support of the UH College of Agriculture and Human Resources.
Yeah, you're right. We're not going to eradicate that pest. But what we have to do is keep it down as far as we can and keep it from going where that conspicuous coffee bag in front of you is from. Why? Where half the coffee is grown in the state. So we really need containment, and we really need to stop the spread, make the farming profitable. So that's a goal here.
This small dark brown beetle, no larger than a sesame seed, already had a worldwide reputation.
And there they are. Well, they probably had. I bet you every coffee farmer would like to see them all dead.
Native to Africa, its impact has been felt on the global coffee commodity.
And that's a coffee berry borer, and see this one seed right here has got more than half a dozen in it, see?
The female CBB ruins coffee quality and yield when she burrows into the cherry and lives out its life cycle within the bean.
And they'll eat only the seed, as you can see. They won't touch the parchment skin.
The process renders the coffee worthless. Jim Wayman with the Hawaii Coffee Company quantified the losses suffered at his coffee mill for the sake of the Ag Committee.
To give you a quantitative number, I run one of the largest mills on the Big Island. Last year at this time, our infestation rate at the end of the season was 28% of all coffee that came through the door had coffee berry borer in it. And that was up from the first year that it was discovered, 2010. It went from 5% to 28% in 2 years.
This now it's year, down to 20.
This year, overall, it's down to about 20. And that comes from a lot of outreach and education put on by the Department of Ag and CTAR Extension over in Kona, as well as all the coffee associations banding together and educating farmers.
Wayman told the House Committee that even though the fungicide has been effective in controlling CBB in the trees, it's the CBB on the ground in fallen cherries that present a problem controlling the borer.
The problem really, though, is cultural, and it's farm sanitation. Because the analogy I always use isn't termites, it's fleas. I come from California where fleas on dogs is a big problem, not so much here. But your dog goes to the beach and gets the fleas, he comes home and gets them in the house. You take him outside and scrub him with flea solution, he comes back in the house and gets it. You take him out and bomb the house, he comes back in and puts him back in the house. The only way to cure this is wash him, bomb the house, and don't take him back to the beach. CBB is very much like that. They live on in the coffee cherries that fall to the ground during the season, and any coffee cherries left on the trees that aren't sanitized, they stay there. So when the flower sets and the new cherries come out and turn red, it's like a bull for CBB. Red is the signal to fly. And then they fly up and they migrate into those cherries again, and the whole cycle starts again.
So why don't you spray the ground?
It's not that simple because the fungicide isn't effective down there, and most spray-on type topical chemicals don't help because they're inside of the cherry at that point, so the topicals don't get to it. So it's really, at the end of the season, clean the trees off, pick everything off the ground. When the flower sets, within 90 days of the flower set, spray the fungicide on, but pray that your neighbor is going to do that, because if your neighbor doesn't, there's the flea in the house that is going to come over and get in your house. So
Wayman also told lawmakers that other coffee exporters have had success controlling CBB, and he maintains hope that Hawaii can do the same with help from the legislature.
Colombia had a very bad CBB problem a number of years ago. They now have it down to, on an annual basis, of less than 2%. And they're following the same guidelines that I just explained to you.
So with this $3 million next year, you can report to us what percent that you're back to?
I think if we do the job, if we get the $3 million, Ken and his group does all the outreach, the Department of Ag gets a subsidized Bassiana out to all the farmers and we get buy-in, I could be sitting here next year telling you it's under 5%. And at under 5%, it doesn't damage the industry to the point where it's near collapse. I can tell you from my own experience, going into last year, typically it takes 5.5 pounds of coffee cherry on a tree to make 1 pound of green coffee. Last year in our mill alone, that rate of conversion went up to 8. That difference between 5.5 and 8 on 4 million pounds of cherry at green coffee value was $700,000 that I lost in potential saleable coffee value. I'm just one mill that buys about 20% of the crop, so you could extrapolate that out times 5. The industry lost $4 or $5 million at least last year in saleable value, and that was just at green coffee level. That doesn't take it all the way up to roasted coffee or cups of coffee in a store or restaurant.
So coffee farmers are not getting rich.
They're not getting rich. No.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.